Madrid's Robert Lewandowski when you have Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting. Bayern win the big one in the Bundesliga and go 7 points clear. Jules, are we ready to crown them?
I think so, Gab. I mean, you and I wanted Leipzig and Nagelsmann to...
We were Team Julien.
I know we're Team Julien, but not this season. 7 points is too big now. And they were so solid. They were so clinical in many ways. Neuer with a big save in the second half where they were under pressure but didn't break. A good goal by Goretzka. Kimmich, Goretzka again were fantastic. And
Thomas Muller made that goal.
Yeah,
the way he slips away from Tyler Adams.
So good. And maybe it's a shame that we didn't have a full Bayern and a full Leipzig team on both ways to have an even better game. But they showed the boss. But
I think that's the difference. I worked it out, right? Bayern starting 11 had played 19 games in total over the international break.
Yeah.
And I said made 19 starts, rather.
Okay.
Leipzig had made 10 starts. You expected Leipzig to be fresher, more aggressive, and they tried to be, and Bayern just absorbed it all. Except for that moment at the start of the second half where you had those chances, you had some bad finish. I think Nagelsmann's right. This could have been a draw.
Yeah, it could have been.
But they saw it out.
It showed. And I would have liked Angelino to be there for Leipzig and really to have a full team and go at Bayern. But I think Bayern were too solid anyway. Zinedine Zidane rests Toni, Kroos and Raphael Varane while going with a back three at Real Madrid beat Eibar 2-0 on Saturday. Gab, just what they needed ahead of the big game against Liverpool in the Champions League.
Nobody gets hurt. You get another 3 points in there. Onwards and upwards. Obviously, there's still no Sergio Ramos, and that's a big issue. But I thought they looked good. It's still pretty minimalist. Still no Eden Hazard as well. Wild card potential.
Back training though.
But Marco Asensio scored a great goal. Benzema obviously had the other one. And maybe Asensio gives you that added value. This is going to be one of the most fascinating, delicately poised clashes of the round.
And Benzema has scored in each of his last 7 games in all competition, which he's never done before in his career. Talk about players who get better with age, like a good French wine, and Karim is right up there, incredible form.
Not all French wines get better with age.
Well, the good ones.
Manchester United come from behind to... Frank Ribery got sent off at the weekend. Manchester United come from behind to beat Brighton 2-1. Jules, Brighton probably should have had a penalty there.
Yeah, I thought so. Maybe Maguire and Welbeck that second
maybe.
half. It was really, really, really kind from the referee.
Referee is our friend Mike Dean. No?
Yeah, of course, Mike Dean, who we really hope we don't see again next season. But United were really poor, I thought. Really, really poor, even in the second half. But you win these games on individualities, and individual players make the difference. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, this is it.
And they kept plugging away. And
yeah, but this is not a team win. Again, this is a win that you win because your players can have those moments of brilliance.
I had to say, on the VAR as well, this really bugged me, right? So afterwards, Graham Potter came out and he gave one of those explanations where he says, we're just kind of inviting you to read between the lines. Yeah. And he said, well, basically, if Mike Dean had given it, the VAR wouldn't have overturned it. Yeah. But because he didn't give it, the VAR didn't do anything. There's no way Mike Dean, who's all the way behind on the pitch, let him have another look.
Yeah.
You're misinterpreting this clear and obvious thing. And again, we've seen this all season. And you know what? There's people who don't like VAR, and there's VAR issues everywhere. But nowhere have they turned it into a holy mess as they have this season.
Yeah,
as in the Premier League.
Tottenham Hotspur have to settle for a point away at Newcastle after allowing a late equaliser once more. Gab, what do you want to talk about? The defensive horror show that we saw from Spurs, the Toby Alderweireld COVID test mystery, or Jose Mourinho asked about his team's struggles compared to what he used to do in the past, where his teams used to be able to keep a lead, and him replying same coach, different players, or all three if you want.
Like defensive horror show. Sorry, Tanganga, Rodon,
Sanchez.
Davinson Sanchez. These guys aren't as good. And maybe this is what he's referring to is when you have Ricardo Carvalho and John Terry, you have better defenders. But you know what? Again, you're choosing these guys. You're throwing these people on the bus. This ties in nicely as well with the Alderweireld thing because he said Alderweireld wasn't available because his COVID test came in late, so he wasn't able to train on Friday. Which is weird because as our colleague Christophe Terrer, he sent out video, not secret video he filmed himself of dubious provenance, but video that was on Tottenham's official account, which shows the players supposedly training on Friday. Yeah. And you can see Alderweireld there training. Maybe it was his lookalike. Maybe it was Kate Winslet. I don't know. But it's not good. It's not a good look.
Again,
you put trust in him and say, like, look, if you throw them under the bus, you want to get the right reaction. Maybe that's what he's getting. But man, you just gave up 2 points to freaking Newcastle.
I know, and it's not his fault again, is it? Although he could have made a defensive change when they were 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go, and he didn't. But no, same coach, different players.
Brought in Bale to get the equalizer with 2 minutes to go.
I would say different players and different coach too. I'm sorry, this is not the Jose Mourinho of old as we know.
Atletico Madrid fall to Sevilla 1-0. This means Real Madrid are just 3 points back in Barcelona. If they win Monday night, could be a single point back.
Ooh.
Jules, Liga, as they say, legit title race.
Yeah, there's been for a few weeks though, Gab. But I didn't. It's not that I didn't see this one coming. I just didn't think Atleti could be that all over the place. What was the tactic? No one could tell you what was the tactics. What was the setup? They looked all lost on that pitch. And you know, we talked about Mourinho's substitution, and Cholo Simeone said, I made a mistake, it was wrong. He changed everything after half an hour when Lodi came off. But even in the second half, bringing Kondogbia on for Lema when it's 0-0, I'm like, what are you doing? He's lost it completely.
I don't want to go so far as that, but I think he overthought it. And
it was ridiculous.
You know, and Lopetegui had never beaten Simeone before, and people made a big deal out of that. Lopetegui generally stuck to his guns, stuck to his players, and said, let's execute better. And Atleti had no answers.
Definitely, and it's a goal, right back cross for left back finish that Jurgen Klopp would have been really proud of. Ugly scenes in Cadiz, where Valencia's Moukhtar Diakhaby, Gab, was substituted after telling the referee he was racially abused by Juan Cala, the Cadiz defender. The game, the Valencia team left the pitch. The game was suspended for around 20 minutes and restarted without Diakhaby. I'm just going to give you my opinion. I thought it was such a strong reaction from Valencia, and the right one, to say, you know what, we've had enough of this. Now we're going to walk off, we're going to walk away and leave this pitch where we cannot stand for racial abuse. But then the La Liga had such a big opportunity to say, you know what, we are with you, Valencia. We stand with you, and we're not going to allow this. So let's stop the game now. Let's not come back on the pitch. Let's have a proper investigation. Then if we can always replay the last hour or whatever. And instead, they almost forced them to go back on the pitch.
So people have drawn analogies with what happens when players get racially abused by fans in the stands and stuff. Here's the big difference here. This was individual to individual. This is the ugliest kind, I think, because it's one person's word against another. The referee's been slaughtered for not stopping the game. I don't know that the referee could have stopped the game simply to take one person's word over another. Now, there's no question in my mind that Diakhaby was racially abused. Yeah. In my mind, as an outsider, and Valencia felt strong enough to walk off the pitch. What I have an issue with is, and Valencia said, well, we were told that we would forfeit the game if we didn't go back out there, and so it was Diakhaby himself who told us to go back out there. I would say to Valencia, have some cojones, go out there and say, you know what, we're not playing anymore because we believe in Diakhaby and we don't believe that this game should be played.
Yeah, but
and
then
then
La Liga also could have said, we understand, let's have an investigation, let's not restart that game.
They will have an investigation, but I'll tell you what, this argument that, well, since the referee didn't hear it, then it becomes difficult, blah, 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 and what if players use this as a ruse? I'm sorry. Thankfully, this kind of stuff with somebody getting so angry, being racially abused by an opponent, happens rarely enough. You have to believe him. You have to investigate. I'll think about Valencia. You've really misjudged the mood in the room if you think that you're going to get in trouble for walking off the pitch. I would have doubled down on that and would have said, would have gone to La Liga, would have gone to Tebas, you know what? I double dare you to go and take action against us when one of our players feels he's been racially abused by an opponent. Then you have your investigation. We were all praising Chelsea's defensive prowess under Thomas Tuchel, and then they lose 5-2 at home to second bottom West Brom. Jules, I'm also still confused by the Pulisic injury.
Yeah, I know this groin injury that it was going to explode or whatever. I can't remember how Tuchel put it. Horror show defensively. Thiago Silva red card. Nothing went right. Tuchel got his team selection wrong, substitution wrong. Everything went wrong, like it happens sometimes, Manchester City make it 25 wins out of the last 26 games in all competition after beating Leicester 2-0. Gab, Pep Guardiola gave us a new look as well.
Yeah, remember you said oh look, he's playing with no strikers, blah blah blah. No, now he plays with two strikers and two defensive midfielders. We saw Sergio Aguero and Gabriel Jesus out there together. We saw Fernandinho with Rodri. This is the new Pep. He adjusts to the opposition. Against a team like Leicester that can hurt you on the counter, boom, I've got two guys, filtering and breaking things down. Yeah. I thought they played really well. I don't know that I need to see Aguero and Jesus together too many more times. But against this level of opponent plays this way, it was a perfect setup and still 14 points clear at the top.
It worked really well.